It's pretty clear from the last ranking video that I missed a ton of original soundtracks, so today we're going to go back and actually rank all of them. A lot of these soundtracks were intended for current zones or subrealms, or they were intended for a future subrealm, but for some reason they just never made it into the game. This could either be because of some subrealms being cancelled, or for such reasons such as drama. But anyways, I'll be ranking them from my favorite to my least favorite. Let's get into it. Starting off with one of the newest pieces added to the game, Seabound, the OST for the surface area of Steelspire Horizon. Right off the bat, this is an S tier piece. The piece starts off a bit slow, but once the guitar comes in and more layers are added, it turns into an absolute masterpiece. I am a really big fan of the really heavy guitar chords near the middle of the piece. It just gives you so much confidence to explore and take on the towers. Not to mention, it really fits the oil rig vibe well, which is impressive because I wouldn't have any idea how to represent an oil rig through music. Next up, we got Delta P, the OST for the underground portion of Steelspire Horizon. The overall theme of the underground portion is a bit ominous, almost like you're in a Jaws movie and something bad is about to happen. This piece does really well to complement the environment, and is really similar to Seabound in the fact that they both use these really heavy guitar chords. I think Delta P utilizes these guitar chords in a more cinematic way, and uses them even better than Seabound does. The melodies overall are pretty similar, so because they're both peak, it has to go in S tier. Up next is Dawn of Tomorrow, the piece for Zone 1. This is a very ethereal piece with a consistent drum rhythm in the background. The piece starts off very slow, and gradually more elements such as string instruments are added into the piece along with some electronics near the second half. Overall, this piece is a solid A tier piece. It's not the most memorable, which is totally okay, as in my opinion I think it's very difficult to make a slower paced song really unique. However, it does match the theming quite well, and is a really nice contrast to Ring 1, which are both technically starter rings. I think it's a really nice change of pace for a new player to go from the cheerful Skyward Archipelago to the dramatic, suspenseful mood of Zone 1, and it gives new players a better idea of what's really in store for the rest of the game. Now, onto some pieces that are no longer in the game, or at least the main game. This is Northern Railway, the theme for the 2025 winter event, which was a peak event. This piece contains a lot of what you would typically find in a holiday song, with like sleigh bells and the normal chords and keys that you would find in a holiday song. Honestly, Cyber Vortex did a great job of making the piece, considering that he had to make it holiday themed pretty much. It's cheerful enough to be Christmassy, but it also matches the theme of many depressing towers that they included this year, almost like a bittersweet type of piece. For that, this is another S tier piece. Next, we got Stalagmitic Abeyance by Moki Mocha, which might be my favorite piece so far. Now, I know there was some drama and whatnot, but I'll stick to just solely reviewing the music. If the guy did something bad, let's just think of it as separating the art from the artist. This piece is absolute cinema. This piece has a pretty dark vibe to it, kind of like the quote, "I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it." The electronics blend in pretty well with the strings, and the melody builds a lot of tension and doesn't really ever resolve it, so it basically just keeps you slightly uncomfortable the entire time, and in the best way possible. This goes in S tier. Similarly, we got Astral Ruins' Reminder of a Costly Mistake, the music originally for Zone 6. The piece is really reminiscent of Stalagmitic Abeyance, giving off similar vibes. This piece, much like the other, contains a consistent piano melody throughout. Only this time, instead of multiple string elements, it's a solo violin. This gives a more heartbreaking type of emotion, as if something really bad happened. And given how EToH is all about failing, sums it up pretty nicely. Another S tier piece. And We Were Wanderers Still is the next piece. This piece is incredibly electronics heavy and gives off vibes that you would get from a game like Celeste or Hollow Knight. But besides that, this piece doesn't do anything particularly memorable. It's pretty repetitive and doesn't really go anywhere, and just because it's not for ambience, I'll put it in B tier. On a similar note, we have The Sky Just Ripped Itself Apart One Day. This song starts off pretty similar to the last one, and so I wasn't really expecting much, but then there's an additional string instrument that comes in, and along with this particular melody in general, really helps build suspense that's pretty fitting for how ominous the title of the song sounds. It's not particularly memorable though, but still very solid. A tier. Then we have I Was a Fool, which is the music that was supposed to be for Silent Abyss. Now, this piece is pretty special. Judging by the cover art, and also the subrealm in general, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to resemble a cathedral or a church of some sort, and I think that this is pretty well reflected in the music. There's a nice flute or wind instrument melody, but the thing that really sells it as a church-ish piece is the chorus that enters near the background near the second half of the song. All in all, very solid piece. Still not the most memorable, so it still goes in A tier. This one's pretty cool. It's called Neat. And just based off the name, I'm sure you can guess what it's for. And honestly, nothing much to say other than it fits the vibe of Neat, as it has a cool goofy vibe that makes sense, since you have to go through the very awesome cat therapy to get there. Nothing else, A tier. Okay, so now back to the area music. We have No Empire Builds Itself, originally for Ashen Tower Works. The best way I could describe this piece of music is basically like a watered down of Doom Eternal music. For a bit. Then it switches back to the more melodic and string instrument theme near the end that I think Mopi Mocha just really likes to use. Even though it sounds dramatic, it's not really a standout piece and sounds pretty generic to me. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's just not impressive. B tier. Now we have some music that was scrapped because the area it was supposed to go in was also scrapped. We have this piece with no name. Literally. It was originally intended for Frigid Scrapyard, but it's an ambient piece, so I'll just go ahead and put it into C tier. Next is Aeternitas, the music for, you guessed it, Aeternitas, one of the subrealms that was originally supposed to be in the Great Inferno, but it was scrapped. But this was also an ambient piece, so it does go in C tier. Another piece we have for that subrealm is Catharsis. This piece is also very ambient, but also has a slight melody that you can hear underneath. This makes it actually very similar to a piece that would go in like Minecraft, like a C418 piece. Just for that, it'll go in B tier. Now, lastly, we have a few that I'll just quickfire. Manifestations of Vehemence, C tier. We all make mistakes, C tier. Disphotic, also C tier. But you know the drill. If you want to find out my reasoning for these rankings, I'll tell you when the Citadel comes out. So, never. So actually, just as I finished editing this video, EToH dropped the new Arcane Area update, and so with that, there's a new EToH OST called Spellcaster's Lullaby. Overall, it's a B tier piece, honestly. It gives a lot of lo-fi vibes, and it's honestly something you would listen to while studying, but because of that, it's not very memorable or exciting, so it does go in B tier. So, those were some more OSTs that EToH has to offer, or at least had to offer. I'm pretty sure I covered most of them this time, unless I go tower to tower and rank music from basically every single floor of that tower, which is kind of crazy. But anyways, thanks for watching, and if I still forgot some, join my Discord and let me know. See ya.